and welcome once again to Binary News, your daily dose of focused gaming news, and myself, Amata. Today is the 29th of June, and this time I'm bringing you something a little bit different, as the Orcs Must Die Unchained designer, who goes by the name of Jerome K. Jones, has made some interesting comments regarding toxic players. Now, generally speaking, the consensus among gamers, publishers, developers, and so on is that toxic players are not something that you want in your game, and it's something that you would actively avoid. And of course, we've seen players being suspended for toxic behaviour, as a few pros found out to their sorrow when a couple of League of Legends Challenger Series players were actually suspended for their behaviour. However, in the eyes of Jerome, attracting these players to your game is a sign you're doing something right, and he doesn't want them to go away. And he said, quote, "There's probably something good about the toxic players showing up and sticking with your game. The good thing is probably that it's a good game. It's holding their interest, it's keeping them around, it's making them passionate enough to give a damn." And then he also said that he doesn't want to push these players away and doesn't think that other games should either. And he said, quote, "They're not necessarily bad people, and that other players should try to simply deal with them in whatever way they can." And in the case of Orcs Must Die Unchained, that could basically mean playing in a defensive or supporting position rather than leading the charge on offense. Now, I just want to finish his statement, but I just kind of want to say to that statement, but let me finish. And he said, quote, "You need those people there. They're driving the game. They're giving it longevity. They're giving it passion. And when they find something about your game they love, they defend it to the death. Those are the same people that can go to the bat for you." The thing is, though, toxicity is never a good thing. You can have a passionate player, someone who really, really loves your game, but isn't toxic, who doesn't put off new players. That's the danger, I feel, especially with a game like Orcs Must Die. Now, it's not a MOBA game, but it is fairly similar. It has similarities to the MOBA genre. But even if you say League of Legends or Dota 2 or whatever, the main thing that puts off a lot of people, including myself, from really trying the game is that you will just get basically endlessly harassed if you're terrible. And of course, if you've never played it before or never really played a MOBA game before, like myself, I've played Smite for a little bit and that's kind of it, then you're going to be terrible. But, you know, if I'm basically being beaten into the ground by abuse before I even get started, it's not going to make me want to put hours and hours of work into the game to get better. And that is the real danger of toxic gamers. They just spoil the atmosphere for everyone else. And I would argue you shouldn't have to play around others' weakness in that sense. Like, obviously playing as a team in a game like that is very, very important. You kind of agree beforehand, right, you're going to play offensive, you're going to play defensive. In case of League of Legends, you're going to be the jungler, you're going to be blah 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 blah, you know, all the rest of it. That's fine, I'm not saying that's bad, of course not, that would be silly. But what I mean is, it's always bad for everyone when there's one player who's dragging everyone down and the whole team has to kind of reassemble and refigure everything out because that one cog isn't turning the way that it should. Now, obviously, that will happen with a beginner, but in their case, you know, it's not because they're trying to ruin the game, it's just because they're learning and you kind of all work together to pick up the slack, which is fine. But there's a difference between that and someone being toxic and literally just doing whatever they want and ignoring your plan and basically forcing you to play around them because they just want to play however they like. That is not fun for anyone, really. So I can kind of see where it's coming from. It's good to have people who are passionate about your title. It's good to have people who will say, "No, you're wrong. This game is good. You should shut up saying those bad things about that game." You know, that's a good thing to have. You want people saying those things about your game, but you want those people to not be toxic at the same time, and they can be. That's the thing. When you've poured hours of your life into a game, you'll say those things whether you're toxic or not, and it's probably better if you're not toxic because, well, you have a better reputation as a person. You know, someone who's a really toxic player who just abuses people and does whatever they want without playing as a team and just kind of wings it, and they say, "Oh, this game's really great," I'll be like, well, I don't know if I want to take that as a compliment to the game because look at how you're playing. So I can kind of see where he's coming from, but to be honest, I disagree. I think toxicity is a huge problem in these games, and there's not really much you can do, but it does put off new players, which is a huge danger. Obviously, you need to keep fresh blood coming into your title. Obviously, League of Legends and that are not going anywhere, you know, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying that is a huge problem even now for people to get into the title. I want to get into it. I think I would really like it, but I just don't want to because I know what's going to happen if I do, because I'm going to suck and I'm going to get told that I suck over and over and over and over, and that doesn't make me want to play. It makes me want to go and play something else. Anyway guys, I've kind of rambled enough for this one. Do let me know your thoughts and opinions though on everything that he and I have discussed today, and I'll see you next time.